Cliff from Gay Dad, and you'll find us in the hothouse doing what we do best. Yeah. What kind of band would dare call themselves Gay Dad? And that was really why we chose the name, and to make a kind of statement, really. It's a two-word manifesto. It's kind of like, if you have a problem with it, it really says more about you than it does about us. And we're in the third millennium, so, get real. And but, and a reaction against all the kind of generic British pop that was out there at the time, like Oasis, Blur, Pulp, Ride, all these bands that kind of, they sound like washing powders. And we wanted a name like sort of, I don't know, romantic, in the like Pink Floyd or Roxy Music or Sonic Youth or Sex Pistols, something that makes a statement. We always said we wanted to make a record that sounded like we were driving down a big highway, and the sun was setting to the west and we were in this big old ship driving towards something great. Whereas English music, to me, a lot of it sounds like you're stuck in a one-way system and there's traffic lights every 20 yards and you're stopping and you're starting. You can't go left because it's a one-way system and you're kangarooing up the road and it's all stop-start. Standing for anything these days, actually sticking your head over the trench and saying, look, I might get shot at, but I'm going to do it anyway, is very unfashionable. Believing in anything's unfashionable, Poor Christians, Christians, they put themselves on the line every day, young Christians, I'm not a Christian, I don't believe in God, but I respect, people's actually saying, I believe in something, because, what is there to believe in now? We're kind of so ironic, this generation, that we're lost in kind of irony. We don't believe anything anymore, and strip the irony away and say what you mean and say it right and don't cover it up with irony and post-ironic. Maybe that's where Gay Dad's going. Rock musicians, they say things, John Lennon said arguably the sort of most important political statement of the last 50 years, and it was ludicrous on the one hand, but it was also quite profound. Happy Christmas, war is over, brackets, if you want it. And the if you want it bit is the genius bit, and that really, it came from the mouth of a pop musician. So remember, dumb it down and you'll get the culture you deserve, and blah, 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 blah. Vote for me. And I think there's a kind of new militancy coming forwards, I think bands like Primal Scream in England, they're really, it's becoming political again. I think pop music's becoming political, and I think, if anything, that's where Gay Dad is going as a band, towards a kind of saying something about real important issues about the way we live. And big deal, if in 5 years everybody looks around to us and listens to the record and thinks, you're fools.
Well, I mean, it's funny, when you're on a tour of the US, you travel around in a bus, so when you're hungry, you'll stop at a truck stop. So it's always funny when people in the truck stop ask you what you do. And, you could be a coward and say, oh, no, I'm just a musician. But, always say, yeah, I'm in a band called Gay Dad. And you see what the reaction is. A lot of the reactions you get off truckers is just like, it's just like closed. It's as if you haven't said anything. And then so you go, I'm in a band called Gay Dad. And they go, oh, yeah, so what do you do? Well, different genres have their own nuggets of beauty. Like, for example, I find that I have a massive affinity for soul music, which comes from 1973. It's like, Al Green around that time, Curtis Mayfield, like Future Shock was around about 72, 73. What's that Al Green? Well, it's got... it's the Al Green album with him, just all in white. He's an inspiration for me. I love the way that if you listen to like a Kraftwerk tune or something like that, the best stuff that they do is there's not much happening, but what is happening is really, really good. It's like, on a US front, if you listen to, I don't know, some of the stuff done by Rick Rubin, like the production on some of his Tom Petty things, like what's the one, Wildflowers. There's not very many instruments, but the ones which are there and the things which are being said in the vocals by Tom Petty and stuff are all really, really good and well considered. but without being like, up their own arse or anything. And that's kind of what you want. You want to make something which is substantial. I made a promise with myself when I was 18 and I was just about to go to university. I was about to study medicine. I was listening to, of all albums, Trompe le Monde, which is a Pixies album, and I was listening to a track on it called Motorway to Roswell, and I was, it's one of those bedroom headphone moments, and I just made a promise to myself that I was never going to give up playing and enjoying music, no matter what. It's funny, we just want to make this strong, heavy thing, which people will try and digest and see where it goes from, really.